Okay, we're almost ready to go live. Just waiting a few more moments to the top of the hour. Nicola Grace, the Mission Mentor here. And it is top of the hour. It's ready to get going. We're ready to get going. Hey, welcome. And it's really great to have you here. A couple of things before we get started. This is live. So you'll see that there's a chat box there. I don't look at that chat box while I'm giving the presentation, but please, please, please say hi and let me know you're there right now while we're waiting for everybody else to join us. And before I switch over to the slide presentation, I'd like to know, where are you at in your journey of becoming a speaker or a messenger, going global? So I know some people coming to this webinar today are already global, but they want to scale and they want to get out more. How many of you are just still trying to figure out your message? How many of you are sort of out there, you're doing a bit of speaking online, maybe some speaking and locally, but you want to go international? I want to know who's here. And how we're going to do today, I'm going to switch over to the PowerPoint presentation to go over all the juicy stuff that we're going to do in the training, which will be about 40 minutes. It might be a bit less. And I've got quite a lot of data to go through that I want to go through. Spend 20 minutes on how do you become part of the 35,000 women with a message going global, possibly even going to the United Nations and affecting the United Nations at the Women's Forum, which I will tell you about towards the end. And then I'm going to open it up for an open forum. Yes, you can ask questions about the data or anything to do with your personal situation. Oh, hi, hey, Suzanne. It's great to see you here. And I'm going to open it up, bring some people on. Hopefully you're here. Shannon, are you here? Love for you to say hi, guys who I've invited to be on the forum. But what I want you to do towards the end, if you want to be part of that forum, what we're going to do is we're going to get some women together, start chatting about some of the issues that are happening in the industry that women face, particularly what we can do together to collaborate more. And it's going to be open for anybody to come on to that as you want to. And there's a little hand. If you look on the side of your chat box, you should see a little hand. Then you can raise that, and then I can click for you to come onto the forum. You will be seen. So if you're shy, don't put your hand up. Instead, ask your questions or contribute with what it is that you want to say in the chat box, and I will read them out aloud. So that's awesome. Hey, Phil, great. Hey, men, I'm so glad that you're here too, because I know I'm talking about 35,000 women with a message, and I've opened it up for men as well. And I'll tell you why that is towards the end of the training bit as well too. So also, I'm in Costa Rica, so it's rainy season here. So every now and then there's thunder and lightning, and my headset's not working. So I've got my trusty Yeti mic here. So I'm hoping we won't have any thunder or lightning interfere with us. Oh, great. Nukabongo, it's really great that you were able to join us as well, because I know it's late for you. So I'm going to switch over to the PowerPoint. Reno, great to see you too. Turn screen share on. There's the PowerPoint, and we're going to get started. And yep, there it is. Oh, and you can see me there too. So we're talking about getting your message out there, going global without the fear of being visible, holding you back, or not knowing what steps to take, right? Because that's kind of like where people get stuck in those two things. And then there's a whole lot of other stuff that goes along with that as well too. So I want to give some context for what I'm talking about today. And that is, most of you know that I'm what we call a conscious entrepreneur. And we're in this time of great awakening, and there's a really huge shift happening within the shift of switching over to a new earth, right? We're leaving the old earth behind and we're going to this new earth. And this is when women are being called to show up, speak up, and step up so that we can create a more equitable world for 100% of humanity and incorporate women's nurturing values for the family, values for the community that have been outside of politics, have been outside corporations, outside of business, and we're only just maturing within our own development to then be able to influence at the same level as men. But here's the deal. This shift is also liberating men. Yay! who never fit into the patriarchal macho male. Because remember, patriarchal doesn't mean men. Patriarchal is a thought system that both men and women adhere to. And there's a lot of men that don't fit into that because they want to express themselves differently. And it's freeing them up to follow their purpose and their passion instead of having to be these success machines for women. And I think it's a great thing. It means that we can all really get out there and follow our passion. So it's a big shift time, right? We're all being called to step up, men and women. But you might be saying, oh, is it really me? Like, can I really get out there and go global? Can I really get out onto the stage and influence a lot of people? Can I really lead a movement, right? Who am I to do that? Who's got that thought? Who am I to get out there and share this message, right? Or can I do it? Do I have the ability to do it? So you're doubting yourself. And how can I do it? Like we all get stuck there in moments of how do we move beyond? How can I do that? And then there's, oh, but I'm scared of public speaking, because when we talk about being a speaker or being a public speaker, most people immediately go to a big stage. But speaking might not be on a big stage. For you, speaking might be in breakfast clubs or in boardrooms or in small groups. And then as you grow and you mature and you feel like you can go to larger and larger audiences, you can get to larger audiences. And others of you are ready to just go big now, right? And so the fear of public speaking and can come up for people often, as well as I've got health issues, right? This is a huge excuse that a lot of women use. I've got health issues. It's like, well, if you had a job and you had health issues, you'd still have to go to work unless the health issues are such that you're bedridden, right? That's a bit of a different thing. But you still have to work. It's the same with your business. You should still be showing up to work 9 to 5 and then balancing it out with, self-care, outside of that. But this is a really big excuse that people use a lot. And again, I'm distinguishing between being bedridden, having had cancer twice. I know this one really big. And the other one is, I've had a difficult past. And I've got all these problems, all these blocks and what have you. And all of these really become excuses that fester away, and they stop you from actually taking empowered action and getting your message out there. A whole lot of new people have just joined us. So I'd really love for you to say hi, by the way, in the chat box there. And if you've got questions as we go through, feel free to post them in the chat box, because when we come to the live portion where, I'll put the presentation away and I'm coming out on live cam, bringing some people on board to have a forum, we can answer them there. But I don't want you to lose the questions, because questions and getting them answered is important. So just fire away. They might just get ignored while I'm doing the training, but we definitely will come back to them. So I want you to know that all of this stuff that's going on, is it me? Can I really do this? Is really just the mind. I call it the monkey mind. And it's the mind that you're listening to. So it's not reality. It's the mind that you're listening to. And I think that this might even be worth screenshotting, right? All of those self-doubt thoughts that you've got, it's the mind, right? It's not reality. So don't listen to it. Right? And the key is also to get support too, so that you've got that sounding board and you've got somebody helping you, because it's always difficult to get over, what's going on in the monkey mind on your own. So I want you to think about this. Where would you be in 1 year's time if you had a community supporting you? And you've heard the saying, behind every good man is a good woman. Well, for messengers, behind every good messenger is a community of messengers. And I'm going to tell you why that is in just a moment. So you want to really be thinking about joining communities, coming into, forums, and I'm going to go through a huge list of things that you can do in a moment. But thinking in terms of community and getting out there with community support rather than being on your own, because this is the new way. It's the new earth way. Collaboration, community, joint venture, partnering, supporting each other. It's not that nuclear thing that we've had in that old patriarchal system. And this is why a lot of people are struggling. It's because they're still trying to battle it out on their own, and they're not getting involved in the communities that can help them. And just to give you an example, where I am 30 years on from being a serial entrepreneur, this year I won the Entrepreneurs Institute Blaze Award for 2018 for blazing the globe as a speaker, because I've traveled to lots of different countries speaking this year, and I won Entrepreneurs Institute Blaze Award for that. And I got here because I invested in myself and my self-growth. I invested in getting business mentorship to show me the way because I didn't know how. So I invested in other people's experience to show me how. And I had a very supportive community, whether they're friends, colleagues, masterminds that I actually pay to go to, and very, very supportive community. And I wouldn't be here without them. And I just really wanted to acknowledge that. As I said, I've had 30 years global experience as a global entrepreneur. I took off when I was 20, started traveling the world, started my own business when I was 23, I think it was. And then I've had several different businesses in a number of countries. So I'm really well versed in what it takes to get something up and running from scratch. And I've been speaking for 25 years. And been on the stage since I was 8, actually. I'm a keynote speaker, which means I get paid to speak. I also speak to sell, which means I show up and I speak from the stage and sell my programs, products, and services. And then I speak to influence, which means I'll show up and I'll speak to create transformation or to create influence. And I may get paid for that, or I might not get paid for it. So there's very different ways that you can speak as well. Once we know what your speaker profile is, to make sure that you're moving out in the right direction for you. And I've carved out my speaking career based on what works for me, not what everybody's telling me I should do. I'm really big on getting in your own mojo lane and following that. And I support the people I work with to do that as well. So I didn't do it alone. And I'm going to see how far I can go on my own, is this thought that I used to have until I went bankrupt. And I know a lot of people have this thought, I can do this on my own. I've got this far on my own. I can get that far on my own. And there's a number of reasons why that's actually not a true statement in this market that we are in right now. And so I really want you to be thinking and challenging this idea that you can see how far you can go on your own, because time is ticking by, right? And time is precious, and none of us are getting any younger. And if you're in a place where you thought you would be somewhere else by this stage of your life, it's because somewhere along the line there was help that you could have got that could have sped things up and collapsed time for you. And you chose to do this thing of seeing how far you can go on your own. And I'm seeing a lot of people that have this attitude when I contact them a year down the track. They still struggle, particularly struggling with money, because money has to be made in a very different way in today's global market now than it was even 5 years ago. And I know a lot of big people online are talking about how dramatic things have changed and how we've all got to kind of adjust to that as well. And it's unnecessary. You can just reach out and get some help and then get there faster. So here's why it's impossible to get out there on your own these days, especially in the messenger, coaching, speaking, corporate training industry. And one of the reasons, that things are changing so dramatically, as I said, is the shift. And it's led to this prediction that's been made by 2020, the solopreneur will be dead because of the sheer volume of things that you have to do. But mostly because the industry's, it's matured and it's got jaded, because there's a lot of rip-off merchants out there. People really disappointed with signing up for stuff and they weren't nurtured or they didn't get the delivery. So you're going into a market where people are automatically jaded about what you are offering. And there are ways to get around that, and definitely social proof is one of them, which is why you can't do it on alone. You have to have social proof, and you have to have colleague proof as well too these days. You need to perform so many tasks, especially if you're trying to build this online, and it's impossible for one person to do it. You'd be burning out and getting sick, which is not the point of going into business for yourself, is that you go into business so that you've got free time for yourself. So the sheer volume of things that you need to do, get done, especially if you're building online, it's impossible for one person to do it. So, you're going to need help along the way. You need more than just the VA as well too. It's like there needs to be a team behind you, and you can't always do that in the beginning, I understand, because you're not earning enough money, but at least you start with the concept that as you grow, you bring people on board to support you. Marketing has got more expensive. Like in the olden days, you could build a business online just through search engine optimization, and it didn't cost you anything. It just cost you your time. Today, I hear so many people so many people saying they're doing all this social media and they're not getting any sales. And it's like, well, no, because social media doesn't make sales. Social media makes people aware of what you're offering. It doesn't close the sale. You need to be doing lead generation. You need to be paying for leads in advertising and doing all sorts of different things in your marketing for it to generate sales for you. And speaking gigs particularly as well. You've got to get out in front of the people that are booking speaking gigs, and that costs money, and it's getting expensive. And so, this is why I'm doing this particular presentation, because I want to start talking about, well, how can we help each other, right? Instead of just doing this all on our own. It's also no longer possible to build an online business without the investment of money in marketing, as I said, but also mentoring, because changes are happening too fast. And those that are already out there successful, making sales online, successful making sales in front of a room, they know what it takes because they're doing it in this changing market. And a lot of people are teaching stuff that's old, based on the old market. And so they're selling it because they don't want to, they don't want to redo their programs, and you go do it and it's all outdated information. So it's really important not to just do courses to learn stuff, but also to get, to get that mentoring from somebody who can show you the way, simply because things are just changing way too fast. And as I said, there's just like one person I can't keep up. Like I have somebody who does research for me on markets, so I know what's going on in the market. I hire somebody who's a futurist who's always telling me, and like I'm intuitive, like I'm building my business on intuition, but I'm also doing the research, so it's backed up by hard cold logic and knowledge of what's going on in the market. So here's what's happening in the speaking industry today that makes community collaboration really important. And I'm going to talk to you about some ways you can become part of the community that I'm building with you. There's lots of ways you can do it, from free to paid, depending on where you're at. Collaboration and community is becoming more and more important these days, mostly because we're global now, so we're competitive. So, like in America, for example, speakers are now being hired from all over the world for corporate events, and for the novelty, right? They love foreign speakers. And if you're American and you go to another country, sometimes it's actually easier to get speaking gigs in other countries than it is your own, because of the novelty factor. So now there's more people out there that you're so-called competing with. And there's also people who are willing to speak for free, which has led to fees coming down as a keynote speaker, unless you are a big celebrity or you've been in the speaking game for so long and you've got a number of books out there. So that means that a lot of speaking gigs now, you actually have to pay to speak, right? So in the olden days, you could get paid a lot to speak, and you still can if you're a celebrity and you've got some books and you've got a really compelling story to tell. But most keynote speaking fees have come down dramatically from something like 5,000 to 8,000 to 2,000, 3,000 for people who are just beginning. And now there's this whole marketing machine where it's really easy to actually get speaking gigs if you pay to be there. And then, that means you've got to make sure that you're monetized. So you're selling something, so that's a marketing budget, right? That's investment in marketing. You get the money back because you've got something to sell. So this is critical. I want you to write that down several times. Really important to be properly monetized, i.e. when you speak, what are you selling other than a book? Do you have a program? Do you have a product? Do you have a workshop or a retreat or some kind of online community? What is your monetization model that's going to make it financially viable for you to get out and speak, whether you're paying to speak, whether you're getting paid to speak, or whether you're showing up free to speak, right? It's got to be financially viable. Otherwise, you can't keep doing it. It's not sustainable. And then you've got to do something else to get the bills paid, right? There's also a lot of disillusionment for bureaus and associations, and I'd really love it if you are already with a bureau and an association, and you're having the experience like so many others that they don't get you the speaking gigs, because everybody goes through the hoops, let's join a bureau and then I'm going to get speaking gigs, and it's been really disappointing. They really only focus on the celebrities, and they book people in their speaking bureaus just to make their celebrities look big. So they're not actually bringing you on sometimes with the intention of actually getting you a speaking gig. They're bringing you on so they look big and they've got all these speakers, but they really hone in in on the people with the big fees because they get 30% of your speaker's fee. So, like you're either paying in commission or you're paying marketing to get to the speaking gig, if that makes sense. So either way, you're paying. And there's just tremendous amount of disillusionment around that. But here's the good news. It's relatively easy to get speaking gigs now. You can just get out there and start doing it relatively easy, especially if you start online to clarify your message and get your brownie points and learn how to monetize, learn how to sell. Because if you can sell online, it's very easy to sell in front of a stage. Sorry about my chair, it's a bit squeaky. It's also never been easier for women because there has been an absence of women speaking on the stage. And even though it feels like there's lots of women coaches and messengers, there aren't that many that are out there speaking on the speaking circuit. And so it's a really good time for a woman to get out there speaking. It's also a good time for men and women who have social values because of TED, which is a great place for people who've got, I want to make a difference type values. World Economic Forum, the Evolutionary Business Council, Ashoka, XPRIZE are all organizations that give speaking opportunities for people that have social values. So it's never been a better time. So don't let all of that stuff that I've talked about discouraged you. I'm really saying it to say, look, this is a reality. So let's start talking about a way we can all get together and help each other through this. Yeah. So high-level messengers in the industry are getting together, discussing how we can do things differently, and have been doing this all year. Like I worked with Scott Offord. I don't know if you're familiar with him with the SSF method. He's a young 24-year-old multi-millionaire who made his money online selling how to put funnels together. And this year he's been saying it's been a highly transformational year for him. He's very public about that. Callan Rush has also been saying this. A number of really big people have started to get together with their peers and with their colleagues, including myself, and going, okay, well, what's the new way? What's the better way? And, for example, I've invested $22,000 this year to be in marketing and mentoring masterminds so that I can stay relevant into the future. And I can also pass that on to my clients and my community as well. So don't expect to grow your business without investing in it. In fact, at my mastermind recently, one of the people there was saying, growth has stopped. I'm not making any sales. I'm not getting any speaking gigs. Everything's really slowed down. And the first question he asked was, what's your marketing budget? How much are you investing in lead generation? And they said none. And he looked absolutely shocked. And he goes, well, that's why you're not getting clients. You have no growth because you're not investing. You have to invest to get a return on your investment, right? You can't just invest your time. So the verdict is also we've got to move in packs and to work together and work more collaboratively as well, because we can help each other, support each other, move through all these changes that are going on and help each other with what's working and what's not working as well. So I'm going to go over today, how do we go from frustrated to scattered in your approach to a clear plan that's going to get you to the world stage so that you are doing the very thing that fulfills you and deeply, deeply fulfills your purpose. I'm going to be talking about, missed one there, what you must do to deal with nerves and feeling scared at being that visible when you speak, so that people will love you and they'll want to work with you. And then what are the steps that you take to position yourself so speaking opportunities come to you instead of you chasing them? And what are the top 10 unconscious drivers that can hold you back from getting out there and just going for it? Because some of you are here because you think this is one step in the direction of getting going, right? It's like, okay, good. I'm going to get motivated and this is one way that I'm going to do it, which is great. And I congratulate you on that. And then how can you join the 35,000 women with a message and men influencing world change and, looking at participating. I've got a free platform that you can all join, which I will put the link out for you, as well as talk to some, for those of you who really feel like you need to go to that next level and get mentored and collapse time so that you're moving through stuff with a lot more ease. I will talk to you about how you can set up a call to talk to me about that. So how do you go from frustrated and scattered in your approach to a clear plan that gets you to the world stage? So you're doing your thing and you're fulfilling your purpose. Well, step number one is you've got to write your vision down without judgment or ego. And I know that sounds really simple, but hear me out on this. Most people I talk to hesitate to take action because they have that monkey mind. Who am I to do that? Is it really me? Am I qualified enough? Can I do it? Right? Who am I to do that? So when you do your vision, you can't shrink your vision down to go, oh, who am I to do that? Therefore, I'm just going to speak in my local community. If you have a dream and you have a desire to be global or to be in a local stage or to be national, whatever that desire is or that vision is, write it down without judgment or ego, right? Just put it aside and go, my heart of hearts, where do I really want to be? And that's going to do two things for you. One, it's going to clarify what you want to. It's also going to create that magnetic, we talk about the law of attraction, that magnetic vortex that starts to build to attract the how. Because I think that's the next one. Oh, I don't have it there. Oh, that's coming up. Oh, I'm going to save that because it's a really good slide. So I'm going to save it. The next thing is you've got to be researching, right? If you're saying, oh, I don't know how to do the steps. It's like, well, Google it. Get on to Google. How do you get speaking gigs? How this, how that? Every time you have a how, always go and have a look on Google. And all the free stuff that's available gets you at least the first step done so that you're moving in that right direction. But as I said before, it's really important to, find yourself a business coach or a mentor at some stage so that you can learn what's up to date. But start with Google, research it. Research what's possible, because sometimes also you look at something and you don't think it's possible, and then when I get my clients to go research, they don't believe an entire industry is out there saying exactly what they're saying. They thought they were the only ones, and when they do the research they find that they're not. So that's really important. And then get active in online communities for speakers. LinkedIn has a number of speaking groups. If you belong to your National Speakers Association, that's really important, because often you can get postings of speaking opportunities. I know for my clients and what have you, speaking opportunities come up. I'm always putting them, my clients in front of the way of getting those gigs. So you've got to be in the places where the networking is happening and where speaking gigs are happening, and communities online is one of them. And here's the deal though, most speaking gigs are got through the word of mouth referral. Like I get referred all the time. I refer people all the time. And so being in the right place at the right time, is something that you can kind of, you can improve your odds by showing up, right? By showing up into community events, by showing up online into the groups, and also going to meetups. If there are meetup groups in your area of speakers and coaches and messengers, definitely get there. So get networked, like really, really get actively networked, because if it's word of mouth referral, you need to be in front of people. And for so many people that are isolated like me, I live in the mountains in Costa Rica. I'm traveling the world, so I do get to do quite a bit of networking when I'm traveling. The majority of my networking is done online in mastermind groups and in LinkedIn groups and Facebook groups and so on. And you can be doing that. And some of those are free. In fact, most of them are free. And you'll pay for some higher level ones, but at least you can get started on the free ones. So the other thing that's really important is to hire a business coach for messengers, because if you don't know how, and Google only gets you so far, you need to leverage other people's experience. I've said that, so I don't really need to go into that in more detail. What happens when you just do these few things is you're going to start to feel like you're making steady progress, and also you're positioning yourself so opportunities start to come your way, and you don't waste your time on things that don't work, right? Especially, if you're leveraging somebody else's experience and you've got this idea to do this because you saw somebody blog about it, but what you're not getting is the depth of the market behind it or the experience behind the blog that you would get from a business mentor. So you're only getting a little piece of the pie, and there's so many things that I've done that have not worked. There's so much I've done, and it's like, oh, okay, cool, that didn't work. So you good mentors always going to pass that on to the people that they work with in their community. The other thing is too, is if you're working with somebody to get you there. I mean, in my first year when I wanted to go speaking, I invested $40,000 in a speaker's mentor to get me all of the material ready, and got me speaking gigs. And without that, I wouldn't be where I am today. So what we've found statistically is that people that have business coaches and business mentors earn 500% more than those that don't year on year. So the alternative, of not getting involved in communities and masterminds and coaching is that you're going to struggle for years and maybe never get there, because 90% of people fail to reach their dreams, which is a huge percentage. You're going to spend money on the wrong things. I get this all the time. Oh, I bought this course thinking it was going to get me this and it didn't. And it's like, yeah, because you spent it on the wrong thing at the wrong time, right? Because you didn't know, you didn't have the experience. And you can max out your credit card and increase your debt, which I see a lot when I talk to people. And then you get frustrated, right? Because the goals and the dreams feel out of reach. And I don't want anybody to have shattered dreams, because if you have a dream, you have a vision, then you absolutely deserve to have it come true, right? But why not you, right? So there are easier ways for you to get there, saving time and money, having fun getting there, not feeling so isolated as well, right? You're on your own and being guided through the potential landmines and on the path, and you want to take advantage of those. So here are the exact steps you need to take to position yourself so speaking opportunities come to you instead of you always having to chase them. Google Alerts. Write this down or screenshot it. Google Alerts is really good to get onto Google Alerts and get a call for speakers, especially in your industry. So you put all these keywords in, and then Google Alerts will, every time somebody posts something on a website or on a community board, notice board or what have you, Google Alerts picks it up, sends it to you, and then you get it and you can go and apply, right? There are some things that you're going to need in place for it to apply, but you want to get on these Google Alerts right away, even if you're not ready, so you can start to see what you're going to need to get ready. What are they asking for, right? What questions are they asking? And then you'll know, what you need to get ready. Get on lists that send out speaking gig invitations. There are some paid ones. At some countries, the National Speakers Association will send out speaking gigs. Some won't. There are masterminds that definitely give you speaking gig invitations, and there's paid lists that you can get onto as well. And then there is like Speakers Hub, I think. I'm not quite sure if you need to be referred to on that. I'll have to double check that. But they send out invitations for that as well, and marketing companies that are looking for speakers. So get on as many lists as possible. And again, even if you're not ready, get ready by looking at what people need. What are they looking for? What are they asking for? Get on speaking forums, right? Join forums, start talking to people about the industry. And just by doing that, just by moving in those directions, you're taking a step forward. You're going to need to send media kits to networking groups and meetup.com groups if you want to speak at network opportunities. So again, go to Google and look at where are all the local meetup groups in your area. If there are certain places you want to travel to, what are the meetup groups in that area? Like I'm going to London, so the first thing I do is I get my booking agent to go and have a look at all the meetups and send out my media kit to them, so that when I get there for my conference, I've also got some other speaking gigs. So pick the countries you want to go to and have a look at what networking events are there. And when you're in networking forums and what have you, you definitely want to be making friends with speakers, because the more they get to know about you, the more they see your message, then the easier it is for you to get referred, right? They'll go, oh, I know that person she speaks on this, and I can make that referral. So it's about getting active, really, joining masterminds and organizations. And again, even if you're not ready, even if you're not clear on your message, start moving in this direction now, because these things take time, right? And speaking bureaus, we did talk about, but mentors can often get you more speaking gigs than speaking bureaus, and speaking bureaus will take 30%, some will take 60%. And if you're speaking on all those big stages, that's people pay to do that. I don't know if you know that, but people pay something like $2,000 to $10,000 to be on those big stages. So this is a really big development that's happened in the last 5 years, is that whole pay to play, which makes it easier for you to get there. But, just expect that you're going to have to fork money out to get onto those kind of stages. And you can pay for an agency to book you. Like there are VAs that will book you speaking gigs. There are agencies that will book gigs for you as well. So why you wouldn't actually do that is because you might have nerves holding you back, right? It's like, oh, I keep putting that off because I'm a bit nervous, yeah? So here's what you want to do to start creating magnetism towards bringing opportunities towards you. And that is write 100 reasons why you want it. Like, why do you want that vision? Why do you want to be a messenger? Why do you want to be speaking, whether it's local or global? Why is really, really super important. And I think this is a slide I mentioned before. Oh, yes, it is. If you don't know your why, you'll never find out how. And if you don't know your why right now, writing 100 reasons will help you. And I'm going to be talking to you a little bit more about how you can find your why as well later on. So whether you're in startup or scaling, finding your why is equally important, because when you scale, you have to change up your business model. The business model that got you to your first 6 figures won't get you to 7 figures. So you've got to go back to the beginning and go, okay, why do I want to scale? What's my why for going bigger, for scaling and having a larger impact? Because when you know your why, right, you can start to attract things into your field that will begin to show you how. You'll attract people like me. People will just, like I've been talking to a lot of people over the last week, and they say, wow, I've been thinking about this, and bang, there was your email talking exactly about what I was thinking about. That kind of serendipity begins to happen when you know the why, and then that can be one step in the next direction of the how, right? So the other thing to do is start clearing from day one. Like, we've got cobwebs in our mind that, again, it's just mind. Like, it's not reality. All the stuff that you're thinking, it's not reality. It's just your mind. And it stops you from taking action because you're not cleaning it up. You've got to get in there and get a really good spring clean and do it now before you even go out there. Otherwise, you won't even sit down and write your media kit, or you won't even apply for a speaking gig, or you won't even boot your computer up to get online and join communities, or you'll join communities, but you won't show up because of these cobwebs, this mind that's, all of the limiting beliefs and the fears and the phobias and everything, that can just stop you from taking action. So if you start from day one clearing all of that, it gets easier for you to get ready to actually launch, and also can get rid of what's in your mind that's stopping you from actually cogniting as to what you want to be doing as well. I see this a lot, and you know what? For everything we say about women, we can say about some men, and for everything we say about men, we can say about some women as well. So, but I just happen to work with a lot of women. It's probably about 90% women, 10% men. I'd like it to be 50-50, but there you have it. So I'm seeing a lot of women focus on their healing and clearing without moving in their business, that they get stuck navel gazing, and then they wonder why they get stuck and stagnating and they don't move forward. And the key to clearing is that, yes, you've got to clear, but you don't stop to do it. You keep moving forward, right? Because otherwise you'll just get stuck. So I hear this a lot. Oh, I just need to clear this and then I'll take action. Oh, I just need to go work on myself. I just need to heal that and then I'm going to take action. And it doesn't actually work that way. It really doesn't. And it doesn't lead you to your goal. It leads you to navel gazing, right? And it just, what you have to heal becomes this never ending cycle. And you can do it year after year after year, procrastinate so much that, time goes by and you're further away from your goal than you want to be. So just keep moving forward while you're clearing, because you're actually going to clear faster, and that's going to get you to your goal faster. And then the other thing, which is really good, is practice. Like, practice when nobody's around speaking. When I'm on the beach, I'm speaking and I'm waving my hands. And if I meet somebody, I usually walk on the beach really early in the morning when I'm on by the ocean, so nobody can see me. But I'm practicing what I'm saying, and I'm practicing in my office. And the more you practice, the more you get the vibration that makes you feel like you're already speaking, and then bang, all of a sudden that energy is going to draw to you the opportunities to get out there. Movement also demonstrates commitment. People say to me, I'm really committed, but they don't take action. And it's like, you're not committed. You're thinking you are, but commitment has to have movement, and it has to have consistent action. like setting your goal, making the plan, getting it to work, sticking with it, right, until you reach your goal. And commitment are where the rewards are, not thinking you're committed, because in your heart you desire it. Desire is not commitment, action is, right? And to make forward progress, you've got to be setting the goal, making the plan, get set to work, stick to it, and then eventually you reach your goal. So what will stop you from doing that even are the top 10 unconscious drivers that hold you back from just getting out there and going for it. And I can see a few people have just shown up late. So I'd love for you to say hi. And also, if you've got any questions, we're gonna have a forum where you can put your hand up and you can actually speak live if you want to, or you can just type it in the chat box. So if you've got any questions, start going ahead and ask those away. This is a really big one, and that's all about thinking of yourself within social programming of playing small. It's like the sit up, shut up, and look pretty syndrome. This is especially true for women and men who've had parents that believe children were, had to be quiet. It's like that muzzles your message if you've got that unconscious driver, and it's just programming. And once you get rid of it, it doesn't hold you back anymore. Fear of death is a really big one because, speakers have been assassinated in the past, recently, like in our recent past in terms of the last century, Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy. And I'm not saying this to frighten you, but it is in our consciousness. It's in our psyche that if you speak up and, especially if you're taking on the status quo, then you could end up in death. But here's the deal with that. That's karmic. And if you've got that fear in you, you need to get it out there. Not that, you're going to get assassinated, but it will stop you from taking action. I remember, one of the biggest fears I had of getting onto a big stage, I kept hearing shots fired, right? I was like, man, I just keep hearing shots fired. And it turned out that I had, become really sensitive to some movies that I watched as a kid of assassinations that I thought it was going to happen to me. And once I cleared it, it's like, bang, I stopped hearing the shots fired. So again, I'm saying clearing, right? Who's scared of being humiliated, right? Put in the stocks and publicly humiliated. That stops you. That's an unconscious driver that stops you. Yes. Susmita, is that how you pronounce your name, darling? I have a fear of getting persecuted. Yeah, absolutely. It's probably a past life thing, right? But if you clear it, you don't have that fear anymore. We get fearful of being fearful of rejection, which might even stop you from making an offer and trying to sell your services and your products because you go, oh, what if they say no? It's like, well, people are going to say no. So you have to overcome your fear of rejection. And it's okay for people to say no because there'll be people who will say yes, right? Fear of loss of a partner is a big one, especially for women. Like if you become successful, your partner's not going to love you, which is one of the reasons why I always say to women who've got partners, bring them with you. Like have that conversation before you go ahead and get the support there and bring them along with you. Fear of loss of family and friends, especially if you are a change maker and you're speaking about a topic that's not, it's not supported by your friends and family, that stops you. Fear of tall poppy, getting cut down, right? Somebody's just going to cut you down to size because what goes up must come down. Fear of speaking up or out, right? That's another unconscious driver. Fear of crowds. This is huge, especially for those of you who are scaling and you're wondering, how come I'm not getting more clients, more sales, or in front of bigger audiences? Somewhere along the line, the word overwhelm is associated with crowds of people. And it might look like, if I influence that many people, I'm not going to have any free time, right? I'm going to lose my freedom. Fear of loss or freedom. Yeah. Or which is, that's behind the fear of success. If you fear success, really, if you think about it, what you fear is you losing your freedom, or being persecuted and all of these other things that I've mentioned. So we got to clear them and start clearing them now because they're there. You might not be conscious of them, but they'll be unconsciously stopping you from taking consistent action to get towards what it is that you want to do. And, one of the biggest tragedies is that I see people is that when they have the fears, they think it means they're not supposed to be a speaker. And it's actually the opposite. It's like nothing comes easy when you step up to play a bigger game. You have to go through that, earn your brownie points, right? All of us do. And I'm still going through that, right? I'm scaling really big time in my business and I'm being tested to the max. So just because you have fears or you have obstacles or doubts, it doesn't mean to say you're not supposed to do it. It just means that there's work to be done, right? And I really don't want you to shrink if you've got this really big, beautiful vision to get your message out and to help people and transform them and help make their lives better. Yeah, it just means you need to deal with issues, which is what I just said. And that's part of earning the right to be able to lead and influence others. You've got to earn the right and expect to do that and just be a happy learner, right? It's not all uphill, but you've got to definitely have the tenacity to stick at it.
So that means that most people plod along trying to figure things out on their own with frustrated dreams. And the statistics are increasing on this. 90 to 95% of people in business in general never make it to create enough money to live off of it. That means that there is 10% succeeding. And when you look at the people who are succeeding, they will tell you, I hired a mentor. I got help every single step of the way. I didn't try to figure this out on my own because I wanted to get further faster. So I'm going to help you out if you resonate with me and you want to just spend some time with me helping you figure your strategy out. I am an award-winning strategist, designed the strategy that saved $1 billion industry. As many of you know, I did that within 6 months, and the industry was not able to do it in 7 years. And I've done over 1,000 strategies now, so I can actually help you with your strategy. And you can book that over at nicolagrace.com/strategy. And I'm going to help you clarify the best direction for you to get you from where you are now to where you want to be. We're going to identify where you need to get aligned so that we can properly get you on the right path. We're also going to identify blocks, visibility, fears, and beliefs in the way of you playing a bigger game. And we're going to plot out the strategy that's going to help you get there and the initial steps in your plan to reach that vision. And you also get a bonus of my strategic document template, which is valued at $1,200. I spent more than that to get this template done and then get a company help me put it together. And I'm going to give that to you so you can just fill in the blanks after we have done those initial steps of your strategy. And then you can have that forever for anything that you want to do in your business. You just go to that template and use it forever and ever and ever. And I'm going to make it a real no-brainer for you. It's a 30-minute session with me, usually $350, today $97. And I've got the link. I'm going to put the link in here for you. And you just need to click that there to book it. Hopefully, those of you on the replay, you can do it. And we're going to get you started. Now, here's how it works. Once you've booked your strategy session, I'm going to send you an email that has a link for you to then fill out a document that has a clarity assessment on there. That comes to me, and so make sure you put your email in it too so it comes to you, so I can prepare for the session. I'm going to have a look at your business. I'm going to have a look at your social media profile, and I'm going to come prepared. So when we get together, I am just going to be downloading like nobody's business. And people often find that just within a half an hour, I've had people stop after half an hour going, wow, that's a year's worth of work, right? So I'm downloading. Remember, I'm an award-winning strategist, so I've got this handled for you, and I'm just going to help you figure things out that you may be missing or you've not been able to figure out for yourself. Now, for those of you who want to upgrade and have an hour session with me, plus you're going to get my Passion with Purpose course, which helps you dive deep into certain elements of your passion, figure out who your niche market is, figure out your niche message in alignment with your purpose and what have you. That would be normally $987, and you can get that today for $500, going to the exact same link, and this is how it works. You'll go to the payment schedule and you'll see this little blue button that you can click on, and that will add a bump of $500. And what you're going to get with that is you're going to get an extra half an hour of my time. Actually, you get an extra hour, because the course has clarity assessments that I'm going to have you do. You're going to go through those assessments, and they email to me. Then I'm going to do some prep work. So when we come together for the hour, we're going to go into the elements of your purpose, elements of your messaging, figuring out, who is your niche market, your niche messages, to just get that honed in on. So when you speak, the market hears you and they want to buy from you. That's what's valuable at doing this bump at this really super duper cheap price today. And then we will put the strategy in place. So we'll do this discovery work first, and then we'll do the strategy at the end of the call. But you will be filling stuff out and doing stuff on your own to get some clarity for yourself before we meet, so that I can put more time into it and help you more get further faster. So I just wanted to show you this really cool photo that a friend of mine took with some Carillion photography to show you what my third eye was like. And he said, if you see that big hole over in there, he said that is all open, like your whole forehead is open because you have highly psychic abilities. And you'll see the throat chakra is really open there as well too, around the throat, because I'm a communicator. And we love this because there are a lot of people who claim to be psychic and everything, but they're not fully open to all of the perils of the psychic world, where you can get misinformation, you can be looking at the wrong template, and so on and so forth. So I thought that it was great that if I show you this is actual some kind of new agey proof, let's say it, that I have that ability and I have that skill, which I inherited from my mother. And that it's been honed in over the years, used it to save $1 billion industry, used it for people of Fortune 500 companies that were going to go public, used it for somebody who I helped get into Parliament in Australia, used it for some really high level people, and now I would really like to help you and use it for you. So you want to make the most of this opportunity, and all you need to do is decide, do you spend some time with me getting your strategy in place, looking at those visibility fears, what they are, what those blocks are, and putting some strategies in place and specifically on how you're going to overcome them. Or the other session where we're going to dive deep into your purpose and passion within your speaker messenger business to clarify some things about your message and your mission and your market and all of those kind of juicy things, so that we can get you well on your way to being in front of the audiences you need to be in front of to make that difference. So in the side there, this is resonating with you and you think you want to take me up on that opportunity, you can just book your strategy session by clicking the link below. And I am going to go into the Spotlight Your Mission reading. So if anybody would like me to give some intuitive guidance on anything that's top of mind awareness, challenge or issue, or some insight that you want right now, now's the time to put that into the chat box. And I am going to come out in front of the PowerPoint. So I think if I turn my screen off and then I turn my, here we have neon webcam, and if anybody wants to spotlight your mission reading, and a lot of the times I offer these and people get really shy, but you shouldn't be. Ask away. It takes a few moments for me to get the questions coming through on that side box. So if you want to ask me anything, now is the time. Otherwise, I am going to go for the day and just ready for the replay to send you the replay. So much juicy stuff in here. Let's have a look. Anybody coming through? I'll just do a refresh. Otherwise, if you've got any questions, want some help, want to, ask any questions about the material or what my coaching programs are and what have you, Nicola@nicolagrace.com is mine there. Nicola@nicolagrace.com. If you're watching this on the replay, you'll see a question and answer box there, and you can just put that question and answer box in. It comes into my email, and I can help you with that via email. So thanks so much for showing up today, and thanks so much for showing up to the replay. And I will see you all next month. I think next month is, I can't remember what the topic is next month, but it's something to do with strategy and rolling it out. I think it might be promotion plan. I can't remember. You who are in the Get Ready Go Global community, you can, oopsie daisy, you can see the email that has a list of all of the trainings. If you're not in the community, it's free, and you get these free training. And Get Ready Go Global. There you go. Boom. you can go there and sign up for it and get an email to come to the next training. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye for now.